Life is a journey filled with ups and downs, challenges and triumphs. It's a constant battle between our inner strengths and weaknesses. While we all aspire to live a life of purpose and resilience, there are habits that often hold us back from reaching our full potential. While we all aspire to live a life of purpose and resilience, explore 8 habits that make you weak and learn how to overcome them using the principles of Stoicism. Stoicism, an ancient Greek philosophy founded by Zeno of Citium in the early 3rd century BC, offers timeless wisdom that can help us navigate the complexities of modern life. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, to cultivate virtues like wisdom, courage, self-discipline, and to accept the inevitable challenges of life with grace and resilience. As we delve into these 8 habits, remember that self-awareness is the first step towards transformation. By recognizing and acknowledging these habits within ourselves, we can begin the journey of replacing them with Stoic principles that will empower us to lead a life of strength, purpose, and inner peace. Habit number 1, procrastination. Epictetus said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." Procrastination, the act of postponing tasks and responsibilities, is a habit that plagues many of us. It weakens our resolve, hinders our progress, and ultimately robs us of precious time that could be invested in personal growth and meaningful endeavors. The Stoic remedy for procrastination lies in the concept of carpe diem, or seizing the day. In Stoicism, the focus is on the present moment and making the most of it. Procrastination, on the other hand, is rooted in anxiety about the future or the discomfort of the task at hand. To overcome this habit, we must adopt a Stoic mindset and remind ourselves that the only time we truly have control over is now. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, advised us to focus on what is within our control and let go of what is not. Procrastination often arises from fixating on the potential outcomes or the difficulties of a task, rather than simply taking action. By adopting the Stoic principle of focusing on the process rather than the outcome, we can break free from the chains of procrastination. Start by setting small, manageable goals and consistently work towards them. Embrace the discomfort and uncertainty of the present moment, for it is in these moments of challenge that we grow and develop the strength to face larger tasks. Remember that time is a finite resource, and each day you delay is a day lost forever. Habit number 2, negative self-talk. Marcus Aurelius said, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." The way we speak to ourselves has a profound impact on our self-esteem, confidence, and overall well-being. Negative self-talk is a habit that weakens us by eroding our self-belief and preventing us from realizing our true potential. Stoicism teaches us to take control of our thoughts and replace negativity with rationality and self-compassion. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers and Roman emperors, emphasized the importance of monitoring our inner dialogue. He believed that our perception of the world is shaped by our thoughts, and therefore we must strive to maintain a positive and rational mindset. To combat negative self-talk, begin by observing your thoughts without judgment. Notice when self-criticism or self-doubt creeps in and challenge these thoughts with rationality. Ask yourself whether these thoughts are based on evidence or are merely products of fear and insecurity. Stoicism encourages us to practice self-compassion, treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a friend facing a similar situation. Instead of berating yourself for mistakes or perceived shortcomings, focus on what you can learn from them and how you can improve. As you replace negative self-talk with Stoic principles of rationality and self-compassion, you'll discover an inner strength. Habit number 3, avoiding challenges. If you want to improve yourself, be willing to let others think you are foolish and ignorant. Avoiding challenges and staying in your comfort zone is a habit that weakens your development and potential. It prevents you from developing patience, courage, and adaptability to new situations. Stoic philosophy teaches us to face discomfort and difficulties as opportunities for self-improvement. Epictetus believed that personal growth and self-mastery often come from facing challenges and pushing our boundaries. Facing the avoidance of challenges is considered important for personal development and self-improvement. Stoics believe that by voluntarily facing difficult situations, we develop patience, enhance our morality, and gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Stoic philosophy teaches us that true strength lies in the ability to face difficulties directly and with patience. It is through these challenges that we learn important lessons, develop patience, and enhance virtues such as courage, perseverance, and resilience. When we constantly seek comfort and avoid challenges, we limit our personal and intellectual growth. We become stagnant and fail to fully realize our potential. Stoics encourage us to step out of our comfort zone and engage in activities that push us beyond our limits. By doing so, we not only expand our capabilities, but also develop greater confidence and personal satisfaction. Furthermore, avoiding challenges can lead to a fear of failure. When we consistently choose the safe path and avoid risks, we miss opportunities to learn from mistakes and become stronger. Stoic philosophy teaches us to view failure as a natural part of life and see it as a valuable learning experience. By facing failure with a Stoic mindset, we can draw wisdom from our failures and use it to propel ourselves forward. It is important to note that seeking discomfort does not mean intentionally seeking unnecessary suffering. Stoic philosophy does not recommend causing ourselves unnecessary pain. Instead, it encourages us to face challenges with a calm and rational mind. It's about changing our perspective and understanding that discomfort is a necessary part of life that can lead to growth and self-improvement. By actively seeking challenges and discomfort, we develop personal control. We learn to rely on our ethics and inner strength rather than external circumstances. Stoic philosophy teaches us to focus on what we can control, which is our thoughts, actions, and reactions to the challenges we face. We become less dependent on external factors for our happiness and prosperity. Applying Stoic principles to our lives can have a profound impact. It allows us to approach life with a sense of purpose and patience. We become better equipped to deal with difficulties, failures, and unexpected events. Instead of being overwhelmed by challenges, we learn to embrace them as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. To maintain a Stoic mindset and see it through, it is important to approach this topic with an open mind and be ready to challenge our current beliefs and habits. By recognizing the tendency to avoid discomfort and embracing Stoic principles of facing challenges directly, we can develop a strong, flexible mindset focused on personal development. So, embrace discomfort and challenges and start the journey of self-discovery and self-improvement. Habit number 4. Indulging in excessive materialism. One of the habits that can significantly weaken us is excessive attachment to materialism. In Stoic philosophy, the emphasis is placed on valuing ethics and inner virtues over external things. However, when we become overly passionate about materialism, we are at risk of losing sight of what truly matters and finding lasting contentment. In today's society, where consumerism is at the forefront, it's easy to fall into the pursuit of material wealth. We often believe that owning many possessions will bring us happiness and fulfillment. However, Stoic philosophy reminds us that external things are temporary and ultimately beyond our control. Relying on them for happiness puts us in a vulnerable position, leading to constant disappointment and dissatisfaction. When we attach our self-worth and happiness to material possessions, we create an unceasing desire for more. This can lead us to become obsessed with accumulating wealth, constantly seeking the next big deal or the latest technological gadget. This unending desire can lead to perpetual dissatisfaction because there's always something new to desire or someone who has more than us. Seneca, a famous Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of distinguishing between desires and needs. Excessive materialism stems from an unceasing desire for more and the mistaken belief that ownership will bring lasting happiness. To overcome the habit of excessive materialism, start by practicing contentment with what you already have. Recognize that the pursuit of material possessions often leads to a cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. Instead, shift your focus toward developing virtues such as wisdom, courage, and compassion. These are the true sources of satisfaction. Stoic philosophy teaches us to shift our focus from material possessions to the development of inner virtues. Qualities like wisdom, courage, equanimity, and justice are within our control and can lead to lasting contentment. By cherishing these virtues and working to develop them, we can find profound purpose and satisfaction in life. Moreover, excessive attachment to materialism can lead to feelings of insecurity and anxiety. We may constantly worry about losing what we have or compare ourselves to others who seem to have more. This attachment creates a cycle of fear and envy, hindering our ability to live with peace and tranquility. To overcome this habit, Stoic philosophy encourages us to practice detachment. This doesn't mean we should completely abandon material possessions. Instead, we should develop a healthy relationship with them, recognizing that possessions are tools that can be used to improve our lives and the lives of others, rather than a source of validation or happiness. One way to develop detachment is through the practice of gratitude. By appreciating what we have and focusing on what truly matters, we can cultivate satisfaction and reduce attachment to material possessions. We can also practice minimalism, simplifying our lives and letting go of unnecessary distractions. By freeing ourselves from the tyranny of materialism, we can align our actions with Stoic principles. We can focus on developing virtues, building meaningful relationships with others, and contributing to the betterment of society. This shift in mindset allows us to find genuine satisfaction and live a life guided by Stoic principles. In summary, excessive attachment to material possessions weakens our practice of Stoic philosophy. It leads us away from focusing on inner virtues and seeking lasting contentment. By recognizing the temporary nature of external things and practicing detachment, we can free ourselves from the cycle of desire and find satisfaction in the development of virtues and living by Stoic principles. Habit number 5. Seeking external validation. Seeking external approval is a habit that can weaken your practice of Stoic philosophy. Stoicism teaches us about the importance of focusing on internal virtues rather than seeking acceptance from others. Relying too much on external approval can make you dependent on others' opinions and undermine your self-reliance. In today's society, with the growing popularity of social media platforms, seeking external approval has become common. We often measure our self-worth and happiness based on the number of likes, comments, and followers we receive. This constant need for acceptance can lead to fragile self-esteem when it depends on others' opinions and approval. However, Stoic philosophy reminds us that true happiness and contentment come from within. Stoic philosophers emphasize the importance of developing virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. These virtues do not rely on others' opinions or acceptance. Instead, they are qualities we can cultivate and nurture within ourselves, regardless of external circumstances. When we constantly seek approval from others, we give away our power. We become easily influenced by changing opinions, and our self-esteem becomes dependent on their approval. This can lead to an endless pursuit of external acceptance. making it difficult to find contentment and inner peace. To illustrate this habit, consider an example. Imagine you've written a blog post that you're proud of and have put a lot of effort into. Instead of assessing the value of your work based on the satisfaction it brings you, you immediately seek approval by checking the number of views, likes, and comments. If the feedback is not as expected, you feel disappointed and doubt the value of your work. Depending on external approval weakens your confidence and diminishes the intrinsic value of your efforts. So, how can we overcome this habit and reinforce our practice of Stoic philosophy? Firstly, it's important to recognize that seeking external approval is fleeting and often beyond our control. Others' opinions can change, and the quest for approval from them is an endless pursuit. Instead, focus on developing internal virtues and aligning your actions with Stoic principles. Practice self-awareness and self-acceptance. Be mindful of your thoughts and emotions when seeking approval. Ask yourself why you need external approval and reflect on whether it truly aligns with your values and goals. Remember that your worth is not determined by others' opinions, but by your character and actions. Build confidence in your ability to assess and make decisions for yourself. Seek internal acceptance by evaluating your actions based on Stoic virtues. Focus on personal development and progress rather than comparing yourself to others. Be aware of the idea that your happiness and contentment come from within, not from external sources. Build a supportive community around yourself with people who value and encourage your growth instead of those who constantly criticize or make you feel self-conscious. Seek feedback from trusted individuals who have your best interests at heart, but remember that their opinions should not define your worth. In summary, constantly seeking external approval is a habit that weakens our practice of Stoic philosophy. By recognizing the futility of relying on others' opinions to assess ourselves, we can focus on developing inner virtues and finding happiness from within. Practice self-awareness and build a supportive community. By doing so, you can strengthen your practice of Stoic philosophy and live a more ethical and fulfilling life. Habit number 6. Inability to cope with negative emotions. Stoic philosophy teaches us about the importance of reason and not letting emotions dictate our actions. However, when we succumb to negative emotions like anger, envy, or fear, we lose the ability to maintain composure and act virtuously. Let's delve deeper into this topic and understand the impact of yielding to negative emotions on our Stoic practice and overall well-being. Negative emotions somehow overpower reason and cloud our judgment. When anger takes control, we often react impulsively, saying or doing things we later regret. Envy can make us resentful and bitter, leading to harmful emotions that damage our relationships. Fear can paralyze us, preventing us from embracing necessary risks or facing challenges. These emotions not only hinder our ability to make sound decisions, but also impede our progress in developing virtues like patience, kindness, and self-control. In Stoic philosophy, emotions are seen as impressions that arise from our evaluation of the world. Stoics believe that we have control over our evaluations and, consequently, our emotions. By practicing mindfulness and self-awareness, we can examine our thoughts and evaluations, challenge thoughts leading to negative emotions, and develop thoughts in line with reason and ethics. One of the key concepts of Stoic philosophy is the notion of apatheia, often misunderstood as complete detachment from emotions. However, it's not about suppressing or rejecting emotions, but about developing emotional resilience and maintaining inner tranquility when facing difficult situations. Stoics acknowledge that negative emotions are natural and unavoidable, but they encourage us to respond with reason, wisdom, and self-control. So how can we overcome the habit of succumbing to negative emotions and strengthen our Stoic practice? Here are some strategies. 1. Cultivate mindfulness. By practicing mindfulness, we can become more aware of our emotions as they arise. Mindfulness allows us to observe our thoughts and emotions without being overwhelmed by them. This awareness provides us with an opportunity to pause and choose a more rational response instead of reacting impulsively. 2. Question your evaluations. When negative emotions arise, take some time to examine the fundamental evaluations that are triggering them. Are your evaluations based on an accurate assessment of the situation, or are they distorted by bias or irrational beliefs? Challenging and restructuring these evaluations can help change your perspective and reduce the intensity of negative emotions. 3. Practice self-reflection. Regularly reflect on your thoughts, actions, and their consequences. Understand the recurring patterns that trigger your negative emotions and explore alternative reactions. Self-reflection allows you to identify areas for potential growth and develop effective emotional management strategies. 4. Seek virtue instead of revenge. In moments of anger or resentment, remind yourself of the Stoic principle of focusing on virtue rather than seeking revenge or nurturing hostility. Consider the long-term consequences of acting based on negative emotions and strive to respond with kindness, understanding, and forgiveness. 5. Embrace serenity. Stoic philosophy teaches us to accept what we cannot control and focus on what is within our sphere of control. Develop a tranquil mindset, recognizing that external events and the actions of others are beyond your control. By relinquishing the need to control everything, you can find inner calm and reduce the impact of negative emotions. By consistently applying these strategies, we can weaken the habit of succumbing to negative emotions and strengthen our Stoic practice. It's important to remember that this process takes time and effort. We may stumble along the way, but each failure provides an opportunity for growth and learning. Commit to the Stoic principles of self-awareness and perseverance on your journey toward a more virtuous and satisfying life. Habit number 7. Dwelling on past mistakes. Focusing on past mistakes is a habit that can undermine your practice of Stoic philosophy. Stoic philosophy teaches us to concentrate on the present moment, accept what has happened, and learn from our mistakes instead of constantly dwelling on them. However, many of us often get trapped in a cycle of regret, guilt, and self-blame, which prevents us from moving forward and developing as individuals. When we repeatedly replay past mistakes in our minds, we reinforce negative emotions and create a sense of stagnation. This habit not only weakens our ability to find peace and contentment, but also prevents us from fully enjoying the present and making positive changes. One of the core principles of Stoic philosophy is recognizing that we cannot change the past. Epictetus, a famous Stoic philosopher, once said, "What really frightens and dismays us is not external events themselves, but the way in which we think about them." This quote emphasizes the importance of our thoughts and perceptions in shaping our experience of the world. By focusing on past mistakes, we allow ourselves to be engulfed in negative thoughts and emotions that lead to unnecessary suffering. Instead, Stoic philosophy encourages us to accept the actions and consequences of our past, take responsibility for them, and focus on what we can do now to improve ourselves and our circumstances. To overcome this habit, it's important to practice compassion and forgiveness towards ourselves. We are human beings prone to making mistakes, and making mistakes is a natural part of the process of growth and learning. Instead of berating ourselves for past actions, we should strive to develop self-acceptance and understanding. It can be helpful to change our perspective on mistakes. Instead of seeing them as failures, we can view them as valuable lessons that contribute to our personal development. Every mistake provides an opportunity for growth and self-improvement. By embracing this mindset, we can let go of the burden of past mistakes and focus on the present moment. Another powerful technique to deal with the habit of dwelling on past mistakes is mindfulness. Mindfulness involves focusing on the present moment without judgment. By shifting our attention to the present, we can break free from the cycle of regret and fully engage in the current experience. Additionally, developing a habit of gratitude can be very helpful in redirecting our attention away from past mistakes. By cultivating gratitude for the present moment and the lessons from past experiences, we shift our focus to the positive aspects of life and promote a sense of satisfaction. Finally, breaking the habit of dwelling on past mistakes requires conscious effort and a commitment to practicing the principles of Stoic philosophy. It's important to remember that we have the choice in how we react to our past, and dwelling on mistakes only hinders us from living a fulfilling and virtuous life. By letting go of the past and embracing self-compassion, practicing mindfulness, and developing a habit of gratitude, we can weaken the grip of this habit and cultivate a more Stoic perspective. We can learn from our mistakes, mature as individuals, and direct our energy toward what truly matters, the present moment and the pursuit of virtue. So strive to free yourself from the chains of regret about the past and embrace the teachings of Stoic philosophy to live a more meaningful and virtuous life. Habit number 8. Ignoring the well-being of others. In Stoic philosophy, the concept of cosmopolitanism emphasizes the idea that we are all part of a larger human community, and we should care about the well-being of everyone. Ignoring the needs and suffering of others can weaken our sense of empathy and moral virtue, hindering the development of ethical qualities. Stoic philosophy teaches us that we should strive to live in harmony with nature and cultivate virtues such as wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. One of the fundamental virtues emphasized by Stoic philosophy is the virtue of benevolence, or goodwill towards others. Neglecting the welfare of others violates this principle and can lead to a disconnection from our fellow human beings. When we disregard the well-being of others, we become indifferent to their struggles, needs, and suffering. This indifference can manifest in various ways, such as being insensitive to the pain of the less fortunate, failing to provide support or assistance. By ignoring the welfare of others, we miss out on the opportunity to practice empathy and compassion, which are necessary for the development of moral character. Stoic philosophy teaches us that we should view all individuals as deserving of respect, consideration, and empathy. By recognizing the interconnectedness of all people, we can nurture empathy and act in ways that promote the well-being of others. When we disregard the welfare of others, we also miss out on the benefits of engaging in acts of kindness and benevolence. Studies have shown that acts of kindness not only benefit the recipient, but also have a positive impact on the well-being of the giver. By actively seeking the well-being of others, we can experience a sense of satisfaction, purpose, and connection. Furthermore, by ignoring the welfare of others, we reinforce a self-centered mindset, hindering our personal development. Stoic philosophy teaches us that true happiness and contentment come from living a virtuous life and aligning our actions with the principles of reason and ethics. By ignoring the welfare of others, we lose sight of this fundamental truth and become prisoners of selfishness and self-interest. To overcome this habit and strengthen our practice of Stoic philosophy, it is important to nurture empathy and goodwill towards others. This can be done by actively learning about the perspectives and experiences of others and by practicing acts of kindness. By embracing the virtue of benevolence, we not only reinforce our practice of Stoic philosophy, but also contribute to creating a world filled with compassion and harmony. We become agents of positive change, promoting the well-being of others and fostering a sense of community. In conclusion, ignoring the welfare of others is a habit that weakens our practice of Stoic philosophy. By recognizing the importance of empathy and goodwill, we can actively work to overcome this habit and cultivate a greater concern for the welfare of all humanity. In doing so, we not only strengthen our own character, but also contribute to the creation of a more ethical and compassionate society. Through exploring the 8 habits that make you weak, we have delved deeply into the wisdom of Stoic philosophy and how its principles can equip us to overcome these habits. Stoic philosophy teaches us to focus on what we can control, nurture virtues, and face life's challenges with courage and patience. It encourages us to find happiness in the present moment, relinquish the need for external approval and material possessions, and empowers us to step out of our comfort zone and learn from the past without being bound by regret. As you embark on the journey of transforming weakness into strength, remember that change takes time and effort. Be patient with yourself and practice Stoic principles regularly in your daily life. With dedication and perseverance, you can break free from these habits and live a purposeful, resilient, and tranquil life. Embrace the teachings of Stoic philosophy. Seek acceptance from within. Replace complaints with gratitude. Prioritize virtue over material wealth. Face challenges with courage and let go of the past. By doing so, you will begin a transformational journey that leads you to a life of strength, wisdom, and lasting happiness. The journey is yours, and the destination is within reach. Seize today and transform your life with Stoic philosophy. Thank you for watching this video. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please like and share it with others who may benefit from it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We hope you will continue to follow us and learn and grow together. You know what's a game changer? Waking up at 4 a.m. Yep, you heard that right. Before the sun even starts peaking, while the world is still hugging their pillows. But why, you ask? Let's dive deep into this and unravel the magic behind those early hours and how they can transform your life. 1. Early rising and success connection. Ever wondered what's the secret sauce of millionaires? What makes them tick? Well, it's not just about having groundbreaking ideas or incredible luck. It's something as simple as waking up at 4 a.m. Sounds too good to be true, right? But here's the deal. Getting up before the crack of dawn is like unlocking a treasure chest of time and potential. When you're up at 4 a.m., you're not just beating your alarm clock, you're getting ahead of the whole world. It's like you've got a head start in a race while everyone else is still tying their shoelaces. This quiet, undisturbed time is perfect for setting your goals, planning your day, or even squeezing in a workout. It's all about creating that extra time slot that successful people use to fuel their ambitions and dreams. 2. Increased productivity. Now, let's talk productivity. You know those days when you're buzzing with energy, knocking tasks off your list like a pro. That's what 4 a.m. feels like. With no distractions, no emails pinging, and no calls buzzing. It's just you and your goals. It's like the world is on pause, giving you the perfect backdrop to focus and get things done. This early start gives you uninterrupted hours to dive deep into your work or studies. Imagine reading, writing, or working out while the rest of the world is still snoozing. By the time they're rolling out of bed, you've already conquered a significant chunk of your to-do list. It's not just about working hard, it's about working smart, and that early start is your secret weapon. 3. Maximizing time. Ever felt like 24 hours just isn't enough? Join the club. But here's a thought. What if you could magically stretch your day? Waking up at 4 a.m. does just that. It's like finding hidden pockets of time you never knew you had. While everyone else is dreaming, you're doing. You're transforming those wee hours into a powerhouse of productivity. This extra time isn't just about work, it's about pursuing passions, learning new skills, or simply enjoying a peaceful moment before the day kicks in. It's your personal time bank, and you're the only one with the deposit code. Every minute you're up before the world wakes is a minute you've earned for yourself, giving you the freedom to use it however you see fit. 4. Discipline and sacrifice. All right, let's keep it real. Waking up at 4 a.m. isn't a walk in the park. It's a commitment, a discipline, a sacrifice. It's choosing long-term success over short-term comfort. And that's what sets apart the dreamers from the doers. It's about saying no to one more episode on Netflix, to hitting that snooze button, and yes, to taking control of your life. This discipline isn't just about waking up early. It's about setting priorities. It's a test of how badly you want to achieve your goals. Are you willing to trade an extra hour of sleep for an hour of progress? It's this discipline that builds character, resilience, and eventually, success. It's a small daily decision that leads to massive change over time. 5. Overcoming excuses. We've all been there, making excuses for why we can't do something. I'm not a morning person. I don't have enough time. I'll start tomorrow. But guess what? Waking up at 4 a.m. smashes those excuses to bits. It's a bold statement that you're in charge, that you've got the reins of your life firmly in your hands. Getting up early is like drawing a line in the sand, challenging every excuse you've ever made. It's proof that you can do hard things, that you're capable of more than you ever imagined. And once you start breaking down these barriers, there's no stopping you. You'll start seeing opportunities where you once saw obstacles. It's not just about waking up early. It's about waking up to your potential. 6. Comparison with successful figures. Ever look at successful folks and wonder, what's their secret? Well, one thing many of them share is their love for the early hours. Think about it. Leaders like Tim Cook and legends like The Rock aren't just accidentally successful. They choose to be up before the sun, harnessing those quiet hours when the rest of the world is still dreaming. It's not just about waking up early, it's about what they do with that time. They plan, they strategize, they work out, setting the tone for a winning day ahead. It's like they've discovered a secret club where the entry ticket is an early alarm clock. And the best part? This club is open to everyone. All you need to do is decide to join. 7. Value of time. Time is that one thing we all wish we had more of, right? But here's a little secret. We all have the same 24 hours. It's not about having more time. It's about making the most of the time we've got. Waking up at 4 a.m. is like unlocking a hidden chamber of extra hours, hours that are ripe for the taking. Valuing your time means choosing to use it wisely, not letting a single moment go to waste. Those early hours can be your workshop for greatness, a time when you can craft your future without interruptions. It's a choice to value your dreams and goals enough to give them the time they deserve. 8. Challenge to change. Now, change isn't easy. We're creatures of habit, after all. But here's the deal. If you want something you've never had, you've got to do something you've never done. Waking up at 4 a.m. is a challenge, no doubt about it. But it's also a challenge to see what you're truly made of. It's about pushing your limits, testing your willpower, and stepping out of that cozy comfort zone. And guess what? The rewards are worth it. The satisfaction of conquering those early hours, of achieving what you once thought impossible, is a feeling like no other. It's a challenge that beckons, are you ready to be more? 9. Creating habits for success. Success isn't a one-off event. It's a series of habits, daily choices that lead you closer to your goals. And what better habit to start with than rising early? The beauty of this habit is that it sets off a chain reaction. Wake up early, and suddenly you're making healthier choices. You're more organized, you're proactive rather than reactive. but habits take time to build. They say it takes 21 days for a habit to stick, so why not give it a shot? Start with 1 day, then 2, then a week. Before you know it, your 4 a.m. wake-up call becomes a non-negotiable part of your day, a cornerstone of your journey to success. 10. Empowerment and taking control. At the end of the day, waking up at 4 a.m. is about empowerment. It's about taking control of your life, your day, and your destiny. It's a declaration that you're not going to let life just happen to you. You're going to grab it by the reins and steer it in the direction you want. This empowerment comes from knowing you're doing everything in your power to be your best self. You're not waiting for opportunities. You're creating them. You're not hoping for success. You're working for it. And it all starts with the moment you decide to rise and shine while the rest of the world sleeps. Waking up at 4 a.m. isn't just about getting a head start on your day. It's about setting the tone for your life. It's about discipline, productivity, and making the most of every single minute. It's a choice that says, I'm ready to take on the world. Remember, it's not going to be easy. So set that alarm, and let's make those dreams a reality. Your future self will thank you for it.
Did you know that loneliness is one of the most common struggles in today's fast-paced world? Yet it's something most of us try to hide, thinking we should handle it alone. If you want to find true peace, connection and fulfillment, you need to stop fighting your emotions and start embracing the power of community, perspective and impermanence. In this video, we're diving deep into the transformative practices that will help you combat loneliness, shift your mindset, and build a life that's rooted in inner strength. The best lesson I've ever learned in overcoming isolation is that your path isn't about doing everything on your own. It's about knowing when to ask for help, how to embrace change, and how to focus on what truly matters. Avoid this mistake thinking you're supposed to do it all by yourself. The truth is, when you open up to others and shift your perspective, you unlock an entirely new level of growth. So, if you're ready to find lasting peace, strengthen your community bonds, and embrace life's fleeting moments, keep watching. Number 1. The power of movement. How physical activity fights loneliness. We've all been there. You've had those days when loneliness feels like an overwhelming fog, the weight of isolation pressing down on your chest, leaving you feeling drained, disconnected from the world around you. But what if I told you that one of the simplest solutions to combating this feeling doesn't require hours of therapy or deep self-reflection? Instead, it's something as basic as movement. Yes, physical activity. Imagine this: you're feeling down, isolated in your thoughts. Maybe it's a cold, rainy day, or you've been stuck indoors for far too long. The loneliness creeps in, silently at first, but soon it's inescapable. Now, what if you decide to go for a walk, jog, or maybe even take a quick bike ride? At first it feels like a chore, a half-hearted attempt to escape the confines of your mind. But just a few minutes in, something starts to shift. The fresh air fills your lungs. The rhythm of your footsteps or pedal strokes creates a sense of calm. Before long, the weight of isolation begins to lift. This is where the magic of movement kicks in. Science tells us that exercise stimulates the production of endorphins, those feel-good chemicals in the brain. It's like flipping a switch, a natural antidote to the clouds of loneliness that often hover over us. Exercise, whether it's a light stretch or an intense workout, can change the way we feel and think. You begin to realize that loneliness doesn't define you. It's just a feeling, one that can be disrupted by something as simple as getting up and moving. But the real power lies not just in the physical benefits, but in how movement breaks the cycle of overthinking that often accompanies loneliness. When you're moving, your mind shifts from ruminating on your isolation to focusing on the here and now. Your body's engaged, your breath is steady, and with every step or movement, you're giving your mind permission to quiet down. It's a reset button, one that can bring clarity and even joy, making it easier to see past the isolation and back into the rhythm of life. It's not just exercise, it's a tool that actively rewires your emotional state. Number 2, treat yourself like a friend. Overcoming self-criticism. You've probably had those moments where your inner voice seems to be your worst enemy. It's sharp, harsh, and relentless. It whispers or maybe even shouts that you're not good enough, that you're failing, or that you'll never be able to overcome this loneliness. But what if, instead of that voice, you treated yourself like a friend? What if you turned the negative self-talk into encouragement, the way you would for someone you love and care about? We all have that voice inside our heads, the one that criticizes us at every turn, the one that tells us we're not enough. But have you ever paused to consider how you'd treat a friend who's going through the same thing? Would you tell them, "Hey, you're a failure, no one likes you," or would you offer compassion, understanding, and a reminder of their strengths? The reality is, we often treat others with far more kindness than we treat ourselves. Imagine what would happen if you started to shift your perspective. What if, instead of condemning yourself for feeling lonely, you could look at yourself with the same compassion you'd show a loved one? "It's okay," you'd say. "I know this feeling will pass. You're doing the best you can." Self-compassion isn't just about feeling sorry for yourself. It's about acknowledging that you're human, that everyone struggles, and that you deserve kindness, even from yourself. There was a time in my life when I couldn't shake the feeling of loneliness, and worse, I was trapped in a cycle of self-criticism. I'd think about every mistake, every failed connection, and beat myself up over it. It wasn't just that I was alone, it was that I convinced myself I wasn't worthy of connection. But something clicked when I realized that the harshest voice I was hearing wasn't anyone else's, it was mine. The voice inside my head, the one I trusted to guide me, was the same one that was tearing me down. I remember a turning point. I was going through a rough patch, feeling disconnected from everything and everyone. I started writing to myself, but this time I did it as if I were writing to a dear friend. "It's okay that you're feeling this way. You're not broken, you're doing your best, and that's enough." It wasn't an overnight change, but slowly I noticed a shift. The voice of self-criticism became quieter, and the voice of self-compassion grew stronger. Now, I can't help but wonder, how many of us are our own worst enemy without even realizing it? What if, instead of ruminating on our flaws, we started to practice treating ourselves like a friend? Could it be the key to breaking free from loneliness and self-doubt? Number 3, finding contentment. The Stoic approach to satisfaction. Have you ever noticed how our culture seems obsessed with more? More things, more success, more connections, more likes. It's easy to get caught up in the cycle of constantly striving for the next thing, thinking that once we get it, we'll feel truly happy. But what if contentment isn't about getting more? It's about learning to appreciate what you have right now, just as you are. This concept is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed that true contentment comes not from external achievements or possessions, but from internal peace. They taught that we have the power to choose how we react to life's events, and in doing so, we can cultivate an unshakable sense of satisfaction, regardless of our circumstances. It's not about being complacent, but about understanding that we already have everything we need to be content. Think about it for a moment. How often do we chase after something we think will make us happy, whether it's a promotion at work, a new car, or a relationship, only to find that, once we get it, the happiness is short-lived? It's because contentment doesn't come from having more, it comes from within. The Stoics believed that by focusing on the present moment and being grateful for what we have, we could achieve a level of satisfaction that transcends external circumstances. There was a time when I thought happiness was just around the corner. I'd tell myself, once I get that new job, or once I make more money, or once I'm in a relationship, everything will fall into place. But after achieving those goals, I found myself right back where I started, feeling disconnected, lonely, and unfulfilled. It wasn't until I started practicing contentment in the present moment that I realized true satisfaction had been available all along. I didn't need to change my circumstances, I needed to change my mindset. Reflecting on this now, I can't help but think of all the things I took for granted. The simple joys of a quiet morning, the warmth of a cup of coffee, the support of friends and family, things I had once overlooked while chasing after the next big thing. It's funny how we often search for happiness in places far away, only to realize that it was right here, waiting for us to recognize it. But what about you? How often do you find yourself thinking that you'll only be happy once you achieve a specific goal or acquire a particular possession? What would happen if you paused, right here, right now, and chose contentment with what you already have? Could it change how you experience loneliness and satisfaction? It's a question worth exploring because for many, this shift in perspective can be life-changing. Number 4. Shifting perspective. Viewing life from a higher vantage point. We all have those days when we feel stuck in a rut, like we're walking through life with blinders on. The world around us is moving so fast, and yet we're caught in the weeds, overwhelmed by the details, by the things that feel out of our control. But what if we could take a step back and look at life from a higher vantage point? Imagine seeing your life not from the ground level, but from above, like a bird soaring across the sky, observing everything below. Suddenly, the noise, the stress, the constant chase for more doesn't seem so important anymore. This idea, though it may sound a bit abstract at first, is something that can change the way we approach challenges. Think about how often we get lost in the minutiae of our lives. We're consumed with deadlines, obligations, and endless to-do lists. It can be easy to forget that life is so much bigger than the stress of today. From a higher vantage point, you begin to see things in a new light. The problems that once seemed insurmountable are revealed for what they truly are, temporary obstacles in an ever-changing journey. I remember a time when I was so focused on my career that I could hardly see beyond the next big project. The pressure to succeed felt like it was weighing me down, and the fear of failure seemed constant. But one day I had a moment of clarity. I went on a hike in the mountains, and as I reached the summit, I looked out over the landscape. I could see miles of beautiful terrain, mountains, valleys, rivers, and in that moment, I realized how small my worries were in the grand scheme of things. From up there, everything looked so much more peaceful, so much more manageable. The same principle applies to our everyday lives. By adopting the mindset of seeing things from a higher vantage point, we can distance ourselves from the overwhelm and gain clarity. Life, with all its challenges and uncertainties, becomes less about immediate reactions and more about long-term perspective. When we step back, we realize that most of the things that consume our thoughts today won't matter in the future. This shift in perspective can bring a sense of peace, one that is grounded in the understanding that everything is temporary and nothing is permanent. We're not defined by the struggles we face, but by how we rise above them. Reflecting on that experience, I can't help but think how many of us remain fixated on the small, immediate problems of our lives when we could be looking at them from a higher perspective. What would it feel like to pause and see our struggles as part of a much bigger picture? Could shifting our viewpoint bring us the clarity and peace we've been seeking? Number 5. The strength of shared struggles, the power of community. We live in an age where independence is celebrated, where the idea of going it alone is often romanticized. But here's the thing, no one is truly alone, and the strength we find in community is one of the most powerful forces in our lives. There's something deeply comforting about knowing that, no matter how isolated we might feel, there are others who understand our struggles. Shared experiences, shared pain, joy and triumph are what make us human. When we experience loneliness, it's easy to believe that no one else can possibly understand what we're going through. But the truth is, we're not the first to face these feelings, nor will we be the last. Human beings are inherently social creatures, and while solitude is necessary for self-reflection, connection with others is equally vital for our well-being. When we embrace the power of community, we find that we are never truly alone in our struggles. There was a time in my life when I felt as though I was carrying a weight that no one could see or understand. I isolated myself, convinced that my struggles were uniquely mine to bear. But then something shifted. I began reaching out to others. First, just small conversations with friends. Then slowly, I started attending group gatherings and even online forums where people shared their own battles with loneliness and self-doubt. What I found was nothing short of transformative. Hearing someone else voice the exact same fears and frustrations that I had carried in silence made me feel lighter, almost like a burden had been lifted from my shoulders. It wasn't just the advice or words of encouragement that helped, it was the realization that I wasn't alone. When we share our struggles, we gain not only empathy from others, but also strength. The collective energy of people coming together, offering support, and finding common ground in our human experience creates a bond that can't be replicated through solo efforts. It reminds us that our pain is not a solitary experience, it is something that connects us to others. In sharing our struggles, we also share our victories, celebrating together the triumphs that come from working through adversity, no matter how small they seem. I often wonder how many of us are missing out on the profound strength that comes from community, simply because we're too proud or too fearful to reach out. What if we stopped trying to do everything on our own and instead leaned into the power of shared experiences? Could embracing our shared humanity help us feel more connected, less lonely, and stronger in the face of adversity? Number 6. Asking for help. The courage to seek support. Asking for help isn't always easy. In fact, it can feel like one of the hardest things to do, especially when we've been conditioned to believe that strength lies in self-reliance. There's a vulnerability that comes with reaching out to others, admitting that we don't have all the answers, or that we're struggling. It feels like surrendering control, a loss of the image we've worked so hard to maintain. But what if asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, but of incredible strength? We've all been there. The weight of our problems feels too much to carry alone, but the thought of reaching out to others feels even harder. We tell ourselves that we should be able to handle everything on our own, that needing help means we're failing in some way. But this mindset can keep us trapped in a cycle of isolation, stress, and burnout. The truth is, asking for help is one of the most courageous things you can do. It takes strength to admit that you need others, and doing so opens the door to growth, healing, and connection. I remember a time when I was facing a difficult personal challenge. I was overwhelmed and didn't know where to turn. The idea of asking for help felt like an admission of defeat, and I resisted it for as long as I could. But eventually, the weight became too much to bear, and I reached out to a close friend. What happened next was unexpected. My friend not only listened, but offered a perspective I hadn't considered. They helped me brainstorm solutions and reminded me that it was okay to lean on others for support. That conversation changed everything. In that moment, I learned a crucial lesson. Asking for help isn't about weakness, it's about trust. It's about allowing others to be part of your journey and acknowledging that none of us have to walk this path alone. Whether it's friends, family, mentors, or even professionals, seeking support creates bonds that strengthen us. It gives us the courage to face challenges we might have otherwise avoided, knowing that we have a safety net to fall back on. But what about you? How often do you hold back from asking for help because of fear or pride? What could happen if you allowed yourself to be vulnerable and reached out to others when you need it? Could it make the difference between struggling in silence and finding the support that propels you forward? Number 7. Focus on your path, resisting distractions and comparison. In a world that's constantly telling us what we should be doing, how we should look, and where we should be in life, it's easy to get distracted. We find ourselves scrolling through social media, comparing our journey to someone else's, and feeling like we're falling behind. The pressure to measure up can be overwhelming, and before we know it, we're no longer focused on our own path. We're distracted by everyone else's. But here's the truth: your path is yours, and no one else's journey will ever look the same as yours. The key to personal fulfillment lies in resisting the pull of comparison and focusing on what truly matters to you. When we stop looking at others, we free ourselves from the pressure to meet arbitrary standards and instead make progress on our own terms. I remember a time when I was caught in the comparison trap. I looked at people around me, friends, colleagues, even strangers on the internet, and felt like I was lagging behind. I questioned my choices, my progress, and my ability to succeed. But then I realized something that shifted my entire mindset. My journey is unique. Just because someone else has achieved certain things at a different pace doesn't mean I'm any less worthy or capable. It's easy to forget that social media often shows only the highlights, not the behind-the-scenes struggles. By focusing on others, we diminish the importance of our own progress. The moment I stopped comparing myself to others and refocused on my own path, I began to feel more empowered and content. I could see that my journey was not about how quickly I reached certain milestones. It was about enjoying the process and learning from every step, every setback, and every success along the way. What about you? How often do you find yourself comparing your progress to others? What would happen if you stopped doing that and focused solely on your own growth and happiness? Could shifting your focus make you more confident and fulfilled in your journey? Number 8. Embracing impermanence, finding peace in life's fleeting nature. Life is fleeting. We all know this, but it's easy to forget in the hustle and bustle of daily life. We get so caught up in our routines, our plans, and our goals that we forget to appreciate the present moment. But the truth is, nothing lasts forever, not the good times nor the bad. And it's in this impermanence that we can find peace. When we understand that everything is temporary, we begin to approach life with a sense of gratitude. We realize that each moment, each experience, each interaction is precious because it won't last forever. Rather than clinging to the past or worrying about the future, we can find peace in the here and now. When we embrace impermanence, we free ourselves from the fear of loss and the anxiety of trying to hold on to things that are meant to change. I've had my share of experiences where I've tried to hold on to something, a relationship, a job, a particular phase of life, because I was afraid of change. But each time, life had its way of pushing me forward, and though it wasn't always easy, I eventually came to understand that change is part of the natural order of things. Every time something ended, something new began. and with that new beginning came fresh opportunities for growth. Now, when I think about impermanence, I'm filled with a sense of peace. I no longer fear change or loss, because I know that they are simply part of the ebb and flow of life. And in that knowledge, I find freedom. When we embrace impermanence, we stop fighting against the current of life, and instead flow with it, accepting whatever comes our way with grace and gratitude. So, how do you view the impermanence of life? Do you fear it, or can you embrace it as a beautiful part of the human experience? What might happen if you chose to live fully in each moment, knowing that it won't last forever? If you've made it this far, drop 100 in the comments below. This shows you're part of the 0.01% who are truly committed to taking control of their life and embracing the changes that come with it. It's not always easy, but the journey to shifting your mindset and building a more connected, fulfilling life is worth every step. If you're serious about making lasting changes and unlocking your full potential, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. By joining us, you're not just watching, you're committing to a life of growth, connection, and transformation. Let's make this journey together. Did you know that the secret to lasting happiness isn't found in external achievements, accolades, or possessions, but rather within yourself? In a world that constantly tells us to chase after the next big thing, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. If you want to cultivate a deep, abiding sense of joy and fulfillment, you need to start exploring the power of detachment and the value of finding happiness from within. In today's video, we'll embark on a transformative journey that reveals how letting go of past grievances, societal pressures, and the fear of missing out can unlock a profound sense of inner peace. We'll dive deep into understanding attachment, how our egos often steer us away from our true selves, and how confronting the illusion of the ego can help us reclaim our emotional well-being. So, if you've ever felt overwhelmed by life's expectations or struggled to find joy amidst the noise, this discussion is for you. Get ready to discover practical ways to embrace detachment, let go of what holds you back, and ultimately, learn how to cultivate happiness from within. Your path to a more fulfilled life starts right now. Number 1. The power of detachment. Reclaiming control over your emotions. Let's take a moment to imagine a life where we're truly in control of our emotions. No longer riding waves of stress, hurt, or frustration, but instead navigating the world with a steady, unshakable calm. It's a powerful vision, isn't it? A place where we hold the reins, choosing where we invest our thoughts and energy. When we master the art of detachment, we begin to feel that freedom, like breaking free from invisible strings that hold us back. There's something deeply refreshing in the thought of not being weighed down by past disappointments or the actions of others. For a moment, think about the relief of living like that, where the things that used to drain you emotionally no longer have the same hold. Isn't that the kind of life we all deserve? Detachment, in its true form, isn't about coldness or indifference. Instead, it's about taking back control. When we hold on too tightly to people, situations, or outcomes, we're essentially handing over our emotional well-being to forces outside our control. Stoicism, especially the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, sheds light on this concept beautifully. Marcus often reminded himself that external events don't dictate his peace. Rather, his response to them does. To him, detachment was a way to preserve his strength, allowing him to focus on the things he could truly influence: his own actions, perceptions, and will. Imagine your emotions as a kite floating in the air, with each string connected to a particular attachment, a person, a situation, or even a memory. The wind shifts unpredictably, pulling the kite in every direction. The more strings you hold, the more vulnerable your kite is to the wind's force. Stoicism teaches us to let go of the strings we don't need, to allow our kite to fly with greater freedom, to float with resilience rather than resistance. This act doesn't make you unfeeling, it makes you empowered. You're still connected, but only to what truly matters and what you can control. Think back to a time when someone else's actions threw you into a whirlwind of emotions. Maybe it was an unkind word from a friend, a disappointing outcome at work, or a challenging situation with family. We all have memories of moments like these, moments when we let our peace be dictated by someone else's choices. The hurt is real, the emotions are valid. But imagine if we could revisit these moments with a fresh perspective, choosing not to cling to the pain or resentment. That's the power of detachment. It doesn't erase our emotions, but helps us to hold them more gently, with understanding rather than attachment. Isn't there a part of you that's curious, wondering what it would feel like to fully embrace this mindset? To let go of those things that no longer serve you, and to invest in your inner peace. Picture yourself as the calm in the storm, unaffected by the winds that once seemed overpowering. This is the promise of detachment, a life where you are the author of your emotional world, rather than letting it be written by others. What if you could start that journey today? What small change could you make to begin loosening your grip on the strings that hold you back? Number 2. Understanding attachment. Ego versus true self. We often talk about finding inner peace, and there's a feeling of joy that comes when we envision ourselves as free from worry and inner conflict. Think about it: life without that constant tug of attachment, where our days feel lighter and our minds more focused. It's as if a weight has been lifted. Happiness is more accessible because we're not depending on someone or something to give it to us. Doesn't that sound like a beautiful way to live? However, to reach this state, we must look at the root cause of our attachments, our ego. Stoic philosophy teaches that attachment is not about the object or person itself, but about how our ego holds onto it. Think about a child, pure, joyful, and unburdened by the complexities of ego and attachment. A child finds happiness in the simplest things, not yet weighed down by insecurities or desires. Yet, as we grow, our ego begins to take over, influencing how we see ourselves and what we think we need to be complete. Ego convinces us that we must attach to people, ideals, and outcomes to feel whole. But this couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, this kind of attachment clouds our judgment, keeping us from experiencing our true essence, which is grounded in love and self-contentment. When we operate from a place of ego, our relationships and goals become driven by validation, approval, and security. It's a game of the ego, which always craves more, never satisfied, always comparing. But what if we could step back and look at our lives from a different angle? Picture yourself living from a place of love, not ego. Imagine a life where you trust in abundance, believing wholeheartedly that what is meant for you will find you. This isn't wishful thinking, but a practice rooted in the Stoic understanding of self-worth. When we see our attachments as products of the ego, we recognize the extra weight they add to our lives. Remember a time when you were deeply attached to a certain outcome or relationship. Perhaps it was a relationship you thought would last forever, a job you believed was your dream, or a version of yourself you couldn't let go of. We've all been there, and the nostalgia for those moments can be strong. But over time, you may have come to realize that those attachments were products of the ego, keeping you from living freely. Nostalgia can make it hard to let go, but it also shows us how much we've grown and how powerful it can be to release the need for control. Are you curious about what it would be like to detach from ego-driven attachments and live from a place of love? This journey is not about abandoning emotions or rejecting connections, but about recognizing that our true worth is not tied to any attachment. It's liberating to know that you are enough, with or without someone's approval or the attainment of a particular goal. This freedom opens doors, allowing us to welcome new blessings into our lives, free from the burdens of ego and unnecessary attachments. So, what would it feel like to let go of just one attachment today, trusting that you are whole and complete, just as you are? Number 3. Confronting the illusion of the ego. There's a unique kind of joy in realizing we are not bound by others' opinions or the limitations of our own insecurities. Imagine feeling free from the pressure to constantly measure up, free from the fear of falling short. It's a beautiful, empowering feeling, isn't it? This sense of freedom is what Stoic wisdom offers us, helping us to confront and release the illusion created by our ego. Our ego often plays tricks on us, making us believe that we're not enough, or that others are better, happier, or more fulfilled. It's this illusion that pulls us into comparison and attachment, convincing us that we need someone or something to feel whole. In relationships, for example, the ego might lead us to idolize others, putting them on a pedestal and believing they have something we lack. But as Stoicism reminds us, these beliefs are nothing more than illusions. We're all equally vulnerable and equally human, and no one holds a special ticket to happiness that we don't also possess within ourselves. Think about a time when you felt this kind of insecurity or self-doubt. Maybe it was when someone seemed to have what you wanted, or when you struggled to accept yourself. In those moments, it's easy to forget our own value, to believe that someone else has a life that's somehow more complete. But if we look back, we realize that this insecurity didn't come from the other person. It came from within, from our own ego whispering doubts. The nostalgia for those times might even feel painful, but it's also a reminder that we are capable of overcoming these illusions, capable of finding true confidence. Curiosity begins to stir when we question these beliefs. What if we could see ourselves and others through a clearer lens, one that isn't distorted by insecurity or the need for validation? Stoic philosophy encourages us to do exactly this, to view others as equals, and to see ourselves as valuable, unique individuals without needing to prove it. This approach doesn't make us arrogant, it grounds us in our own worth, independent of external comparisons. Imagine approaching life with this mindset. How different would it feel to live each day knowing that your value doesn't change based on what others have or what they think of you? Confronting the illusion of the ego is a transformative experience, one that allows us to truly connect with ourselves. It's an invitation to step out of the shadow of comparison and into a place of genuine self-worth. What if, starting today, you could begin to see through the illusions, recognizing them for what they are? What would it feel like to let go of this false sense of lack, knowing that you are already whole? The journey toward this understanding is deeply personal, but it's a journey that brings us closer to a life of peace and resilience, grounded in the knowledge that we are enough. Number 4. Detachment in practice, letting go of the past and FOMO. Picture yourself standing on a beach, the waves gently lapping at your feet. Each wave is like a moment in your life, constantly flowing and changing. In this serene setting, imagine that you can let go of the burdens you carry, past regrets, anxieties about the future, and the constant nagging fear of missing out, often referred to as FOMO. It's liberating to think about shedding these emotional weights, isn't it? Detachment isn't about indifference, it's about finding a peaceful relationship with our thoughts and feelings. It's about recognizing that we have the power to choose how we respond to life's events, rather than allowing them to control us. In our fast-paced, hyper-connected world, the fear of missing out can be particularly overwhelming. Social media bombards us with images of friends attending parties, going on adventures, or achieving milestones, all while we might feel stuck in our daily routines. This constant comparison can lead to feelings of inadequacy and dissatisfaction as we focus on what we lack rather than appreciating what we have. The Stoics taught that true contentment comes from within, and that the external world is often beyond our control. By practicing detachment, we can reclaim our emotional stability and find happiness not in what we are missing, but in what we already possess. Reflecting on our experiences, think back to a moment when you felt overwhelmed by what others were doing or achieving. Perhaps you were scrolling through social media, seeing friends living their best lives while you felt stagnant. Now remember how liberating it felt to step away from that screen, to disconnect from the chaos, even if just for a moment. Nostalgia for those moments when you chose to disengage from the external world can remind you of your inherent power. You can decide what deserves your emotional investment and what does not. Curiosity about detachment encourages us to explore practical ways to implement it in our lives. What if, instead of feeling envy or resentment when we see someone else succeed, we viewed their success as inspiration? How can we shift our mindset from one of competition to one of appreciation? This doesn't mean we ignore our desires or ambitions. It means we approach them with a sense of detachment, understanding that our worth is not determined by external validation or comparisons. By letting go of the past, whether it be old grudges, missed opportunities, or failures, we free ourselves to embrace the present moment. Imagine living each day with the understanding that every experience contributes to your growth and that your journey is uniquely yours. Practicing detachment is about embracing the now and finding joy in the simplicity of being. It's about recognizing that life is not a race, and there is no finish line we need to reach before we can be happy. Instead of living in constant fear of missing out, we can cultivate a sense of gratitude for where we are right now. So, as you move through your day, consider how you can practice detachment. What emotional weights can you let go of? What can you appreciate in your life, rather than focus on what's missing? Number 5. The path to happiness. Finding true value from within. As we explore the path to happiness, picture a lush, sunlit forest where each step you take feels lighter, each breath is infused with the fragrance of blooming wildflowers. In this serene space, happiness becomes more than just a fleeting emotion. It transforms into a profound sense of peace and contentment that resides within us. Many of us chase happiness through external validation, be it through accomplishments, relationships, or material possessions. But what if the true essence of happiness lies not outside us, but within? The journey to uncover this inner treasure can lead us to a life filled with fulfillment and joy. Finding happiness from within is deeply rooted in the Stoic belief that our perceptions shape our reality. Instead of seeking happiness through external sources, we must learn to cultivate it by nurturing our inner selves. This process often begins with self-reflection and understanding our values. What truly matters to you? Is it success, love, connection, or personal growth? When we align our actions with our core values, we pave the way for genuine happiness. Think back to a moment when you felt truly content, perhaps during a quiet evening with a good book, a heartfelt conversation with a friend, or even when you accomplished a personal goal that held meaning for you. Those moments are a reminder that happiness is often found in simple pleasures and authenticity. Nostalgia can evoke powerful emotions when we remember times in our lives where we felt connected to our true selves, free from the pressures of societal expectations. Maybe it was a childhood memory where you played freely, unburdened by responsibilities or comparisons. Such memories can serve as guiding lights, reminding us that happiness doesn't always require grand achievements. It's often the small everyday moments that bring the most joy. Reflect on how those moments, where you embraced your true self without judgment, can be replicated in your current life. How can you carve out space for these experiences today? Curiosity drives us to ask how we can actively cultivate this inner happiness. What practices can we adopt to reinforce our self-worth and align our lives with our values? Engaging in mindfulness and gratitude practices can open pathways to deeper self-awareness. Journaling your thoughts and feelings, practicing meditation, or simply taking time each day to reflect on what you are grateful for can shift your focus from external validations to internal affirmations. Imagine waking up each morning with a sense of purpose, recognizing that your happiness does not depend on others' opinions or your achievements, but rather on your perspective and how you choose to engage with the world. The path to happiness is not a destination, it's a continuous journey of self-discovery and growth. By learning to find true value from within, we empower ourselves to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. We realize that happiness is not something to be pursued, it is something to be cultivated, nurtured, and embraced. So, as you move forward in your journey, ask yourself, how can I connect with my true self today? What small steps can I take to foster happiness from within? As we wrap up this exploration of detachment and inner happiness, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let us know your biggest takeaway from today's video. If you've watched this far, go ahead and drop 100. This shows you're part of that rare group who truly seeks to transform their life. Remember, if you're serious about reclaiming control over your emotions and discovering lasting joy, make sure to join our community by subscribing to our channel. Together, we can continue this journey of self-discovery and empowerment, helping each other grow and thrive every step of the way. Did you know that mastering your mind is one of the most powerful things you can do for your life? If you want to rise above stress, overcome distractions, and achieve your true potential, you need to start by mastering your thoughts. The best way to take control of your life and find lasting peace is through Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that's more relevant than ever in today's fast-paced world. Avoid this mistake. Most people think that happiness and success come from external achievements or perfect circumstances, but the truth is, it all begins within. Don't believe the myth that you need to have everything figured out before you can start making progress. In this video, we're diving into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and exploring how you can use its principles to create a mindset that's resilient, focused, and unstoppable. So, if you're ready to take control of your life, let's dive in and uncover the power of mind mastery. Number 1. Let go of what others think. Mastering your mind. We've all been there, right? Walking into a room, feeling eyes on us, and instantly wondering, what are they thinking? The need for validation is something most of us have experienced, but what if I told you, you don't need anyone's approval to live your best life? Picture this: a life where you're at peace with yourself, where what others think doesn't have the power to shake your confidence or alter your decisions. Imagine how freeing it would feel to be unburdened by the weight of other people's opinions. Now, let's dive deep. This concept of letting go of what others think is not just a fleeting thought or a passing idea. It's a fundamental shift in mindset. It requires us to master our mind, control our thoughts, and refuse to let external judgments dictate our emotions or actions. This shift is at the core of Stoic philosophy, especially the teachings of Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. They spoke of the importance of focusing only on what we can control. We can control our thoughts, our actions, and our responses to situations. but we cannot control what others think of us. When we place our value in the hands of others' perceptions, we hand over the keys to our own happiness. This might seem like an easy thing to do in the moment, but it only breeds insecurity and doubt. People may say things about you that aren't true, or they might misunderstand your intentions. The reality is that we can't please everyone, and that's okay. We should no longer allow the opinions of others to overshadow our own self-worth. Think about it. How many times have you done something you were excited about, only to second-guess yourself because of what someone else might think? Or have you avoided an opportunity because you feared rejection or judgment? The truth is, the more you cling to others' opinions, the less you're able to truly live authentically. You become enslaved to their perceptions, constantly seeking approval. To break free, we need to master the art of focusing on what we control: our thoughts, our actions, and our inner peace. When we choose to let go of the external noise and focus solely on what aligns with our values, we step into our power. This means accepting that not everyone will agree with us, and that's perfectly fine. In fact, the more you embrace your own authenticity, the more you will attract those who resonate with your true self. Remember the times when you were younger, when you didn't care as much about what others thought, when you did what you loved without overthinking. Maybe you were the kid who wore whatever felt comfortable, even if it wasn't the most fashionable choice. You were the one who laughed the loudest, who danced without caring if anyone was watching. Somewhere along the way, we lose that. We start to become more aware of the opinions around us. We try to fit in, blend in, be what society expects of us. As you reflect on that younger, more carefree version of yourself, it might bring a smile to your face. The freedom that came with not caring about the opinions of others. Wouldn't it be amazing to recapture that feeling, to once again let go of the constant pressure of societal norms? Imagine waking up every day with the confidence that your thoughts and actions are enough. That you are enough. Number 2. Cultivate emotional resilience, strength, through adversity. Life can be a beautiful ride, full of highs and unforgettable moments. But it's also unpredictable, with unexpected challenges around every corner. We've all had those moments, times when life throws a curveball, and we feel unprepared to handle it. Maybe you lost a job, faced a tough breakup, or went through a financial crisis. In those moments, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and lost. But what if I told you that within every adversity, there's an opportunity to grow stronger, to become more resilient? Imagine being able to bounce back, no matter what life throws at you, with a heart and mind that remain steady and focused. Emotional resilience is the ability to face life's challenges with strength, grace, and adaptability. It's not about avoiding pain or hardship. It's about learning how to cope with and grow through it. The Stoics taught us that suffering is a part of life, and it's not the events themselves that determine our fate, but our reactions to them. When life hits hard, it's easy to fall into despair, but resilient people don't let setbacks define them. They accept the pain, learn from it, and use it to fuel their progress. This is the Stoic perspective. Adversity isn't something to be avoided, but rather embraced as a tool for growth. The great philosopher Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." The more we face challenges head-on, the more we develop our emotional strength. We all face tough times, and it's easy to get caught up in the idea that life should be smooth sailing. But no one is immune to hardship. It's the way we handle these moments that sets us apart. Do we crumble, or do we rise? Do we allow emotions like fear, anger, or sadness to control us? Or do we choose to navigate through them with wisdom and resilience? By cultivating emotional resilience, we learn to see adversity through a different lens. Instead of viewing challenges as obstacles, we begin to see them as opportunities to strengthen our character. The more resilient we become, the more we realize that setbacks are just temporary and that we are capable of handling anything that comes our way. Think back to a time in your life when you faced a major setback. Maybe it was in your career, in a relationship, or during a period of personal growth. At the time, it may have felt like the end of the world. You may have questioned yourself, felt unsure of how to move forward, or even doubted your strength. But what if, looking back, you realized that moment was the catalyst for the person you are today? That the pain you felt, the challenge you endured, actually made you stronger, wiser, and more resilient. We all have our stories of struggle, and those stories often carry wisdom. They show us how we've grown, how we've persevered. There's strength in every moment of hardship we've faced, even if we didn't realize it at the time. Those moments didn't break us, they made us. And with every challenge you've faced, you've built an inner strength that no one can take away. So, let's take a moment to reflect. Think about all the challenges you've overcome in your life. What did you learn from them? How have they shaped who you are today? Embrace that growth, because that resilience is a part of you now. It's who you are, not who you were. Number 3. Use the power of perception. Transform your mindset. Have you ever noticed how two people can experience the same situation, but one walks away feeling defeated while the other is inspired? It's incredible how much power our perceptions hold in shaping our reality. Imagine for a moment that you had the ability to shift your mindset in an instant, seeing every challenge as an opportunity, every setback as a lesson. What would that do for you? How would your life change if you could harness the power of perception to shape a mindset that empowers you instead of limits you? Perception is everything. How we perceive a situation often determines how we respond to it. Stoicism teaches us that external events are neutral. What matters is how we interpret them. It's all about the lens through which we view the world. For example, if you view a job loss as a failure, you may spiral into feelings of despair. But if you view it as an opportunity to explore new paths or build new skills, it suddenly becomes a chance for growth. The key to transforming your mindset lies in understanding that you can control how you perceive the world around you. The Stoics believed that we can never change external events, but we can always control our inner thoughts and reactions. It's the difference between seeing obstacles as insurmountable walls and seeing them as stepping stones to something greater. When we change our perception, we change our reality. A negative mindset can keep us stuck in fear, self-doubt, and frustration. But a positive, growth-oriented mindset can propel us forward, even in the face of adversity. The way we perceive challenges can make all the difference between staying stuck in a rut and breaking through to something better. Think back to a time when you were faced with a difficult situation and your perception made all the difference. Maybe you were in school, facing a tough exam, or dealing with a challenging project at work. How did you perceive the situation? Did you see it as a threat or as a challenge? Remember how, with the right mindset, you were able to push through and succeed. Those moments were not just about the outcome, they were about how you saw the process and how you used that perception to fuel your efforts. Number 4, live according to nature. Embrace change with serenity. Imagine waking up in the morning and not feeling burdened by the chaos around you. Picture a life where you embrace change instead of fearing it, where you live in harmony with the flow of life. Doesn't it sound peaceful? What if I told you this serene life is possible, and it starts with a simple but powerful idea, living according to nature? In a world that often feels out of control, this approach provides a sense of grounding, balance, and inner peace. And it's not some abstract philosophy, it's something deeply rooted in the Stoic tradition, a way of life that has been followed by some of history's greatest minds. Living according to nature means aligning yourself with the natural rhythms of the world and accepting change as an essential part of life. The Stoics, especially Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, emphasized the importance of living in accordance with the natural world. To them, nature was not just about trees, rivers, or mountains. It was about understanding and accepting the laws that govern the universe. Things like cause and effect, birth and death, creation and destruction. These laws are not arbitrary, they are a part of the fabric of existence. When we talk about embracing change with serenity, we're referring to the ability to accept that everything is transient. Life is constantly evolving, and nothing stays the same for long. Relationships, jobs, health, and even our own sense of identity can change in the blink of an eye. But instead of resisting these changes, Stoicism teaches us to flow with them, to see them as natural occurrences that are beyond our control. Change, rather than being something to fear, becomes something to welcome because it's a part of life's natural progression. You see, living according to nature means recognizing that the universe is vast and beyond our understanding. We are not in control of everything, and that's okay. What we can control is how we respond to the world around us. Just as a tree sways in the wind but remains rooted in the earth, we too must be flexible in our responses, adapting to life's changes while staying grounded in our principles and values. This doesn't mean we're indifferent to change. It means we accept it with grace, understanding that each shift in our life brings with it an opportunity for growth. The key to embracing change with serenity is practicing acceptance. This doesn't mean passively waiting for change to happen. It means actively choosing to accept the ebb and flow of life, not resisting it or fighting against it. This acceptance allows us to face challenges with calm and confidence, because we know that change, like all things, is part of a larger cycle that is beyond our control. When we accept that change is inevitable, we open ourselves to the wisdom of nature, of the world, and can navigate through life's ups and downs with equanimity. Think back to a time when you felt deeply connected to nature. Maybe it was a time when you went on a hike, sat by a river, or simply took a walk in the park, and you felt the stillness of the moment. Perhaps you were able to forget about the hustle and bustle of daily life and just breathe. There was a sense of peace in that moment, a knowing that everything in the world, including you, was exactly where it was meant to be. You may not have realized it at the time, but you were living according to nature, experiencing the world in its most authentic form. Number 5. Practice self-discipline, staying focused on your goals. Self-discipline is a word we hear often, but have you ever stopped to think about the true power it holds? Picture a life where distractions don't pull you off course, where you're able to stay focused on your goals despite the noise and chaos of the world around you. Imagine the satisfaction of looking back at your day and knowing you gave it your all, staying true to your commitments, moving closer to your dreams, and accomplishing what you set out to do. That's the power of self-discipline, the ability to stay focused, no matter what. Self-discipline is the foundation of success. It's the ability to stay focused on what truly matters, despite the distractions, temptations, and challenges that life throws at us. It's not just about saying no to instant gratification, but about saying yes to long-term rewards. The Stoics understood the importance of self-discipline in their own lives. Epictetus, for example, taught that we are the architects of our own character. If we are not disciplined in our actions, we allow external forces to dictate our lives, and that leaves us vulnerable to chaos. The essence of self-discipline is the ability to control your impulses, emotions, and behaviors in the service of your goals. It's about making the hard choices, day in and day out, that will lead to a better future. Think about the times in your life when you've been most successful, whether it was in your career, health, or personal growth. Chances are you had to demonstrate self-discipline to get there. You had to resist distractions, stay focused, and make decisions that aligned with your long-term vision. This doesn't mean life becomes easy or that challenges won't arise. In fact, self-discipline often requires us to push through discomfort, delay gratification, and work tirelessly toward our goals. But what separates those who achieve their dreams from those who don't is the ability to stay consistent. Self-discipline means that even when things get tough, you continue to push forward because you know that every small step brings you closer to your goal. In Stoicism, self-discipline isn't about perfection, it's about consistent effort. It's understanding that mastery is not an overnight accomplishment, but a process that requires patience, resilience, and a deep commitment to personal growth. The Stoics believed that every challenge is an opportunity to build discipline, and that discipline is the key to living a virtuous and fulfilling life. Think back to a time when you set a big goal for yourself. Maybe it was a fitness goal, a career milestone, or a personal development target. Remember how it felt at the beginning, excited but also unsure of whether you could truly achieve it. Now, think about the days when it was difficult to stay disciplined, when you wanted to quit or take the easy way out. But you didn't. You pushed through, stayed focused, and didn't let the challenges distract you from your purpose. And when you finally reached your goal, there was that incredible feeling of accomplishment, pride, and self-respect. That was self-discipline in action. Number 6. Embrace the present moment, the power of now. How often do we find ourselves looking back at the past or worrying about the future? We replay old conversations, regret our decisions, or wonder what lies ahead. But in doing so, we miss out on the one thing we can control, the present moment. Imagine a life where you are fully immersed in the now, where every moment is experienced with complete awareness and mindfulness. The present moment is where life happens, and it's the only time we truly have. Embracing the present moment is a core principle of Stoicism, and it's one of the most powerful tools we can use to achieve peace and happiness. The Stoics understood that the past is gone, the future is uncertain, and all we have is this moment. By focusing on the present, we free ourselves from the burdens of the past and the anxieties of the future. The power of now lies in the fact that it's the only time we have control over. When we live in the present, we stop worrying about what we can't change and start focusing on what we can do right now. This doesn't mean we ignore the past or the future, but rather we give them their due place without allowing them to dominate our thoughts or actions. Living in the present moment allows us to fully engage with life as it unfolds. It means experiencing each moment with mindfulness, whether it's a simple task, a conversation, or even a challenging situation. When we give our full attention to the present, we become more aware of the opportunities around us, more connected to our inner peace, and more aligned with our goals. We stop being distracted by the what-ifs and start embracing the beauty of what is. The Stoics would remind us that there is no better time to act than now. If we wait for the perfect moment or for the future to align in a way that makes us feel comfortable, we might wait forever. The present moment is the only time when we have the power to change, to act, and to make a difference. By embracing the present, we unlock the potential to live a more fulfilling and intentional life. Think back to a time when you were completely absorbed in the present. Maybe it was a moment spent with family, friends, or doing something you loved. Remember how everything else faded away, and all that mattered was the experience at hand. In those moments, you didn't worry about the future or dwell on past mistakes. You were just there, fully present. How good did it feel to be in the moment, free from distractions. Reflecting on those moments can help us realize how much we miss when we aren't fully present. We get so caught up in our worries, our plans, or our regrets, but in doing so, we often miss the beauty of life as it's happening. By remembering those times of presence, we can motivate ourselves to embrace the now more often and to truly experience the richness of each moment. How can you cultivate more moments of presence in your life? How can you become more mindful in the everyday moments, free from distractions and worries? What practices or techniques can help you stay grounded in the now, even when life gets busy or overwhelming? Let's explore the tools and strategies for embracing the present moment fully and how doing so can bring more peace, joy, and fulfillment into your life. Number 7. Build or join a community that supports your growth. We all know that success is rarely achieved alone. Imagine being surrounded by a group of people who truly support you, people who lift you up, challenge you, and help you become the best version of yourself. Wouldn't that make life feel a little easier, a little more fulfilling? We all need a community that shares our values and encourages our growth, and when we find the right one, it can be life-changing. Humans are social creatures, and we thrive in environments where we feel supported and understood. This is why building or joining a community that nurtures your growth is so important. The Stoics themselves weren't isolated individuals. They understood the value of wisdom being shared and discussed in community. Epictetus, for instance, ran a school where students could come together and learn the principles of Stoicism. He knew that learning was richer when done in the company of others. When we surround ourselves with people who encourage our development, we naturally rise to the occasion. A supportive community provides accountability, encouragement, and motivation. These people will remind you of your goals when you forget them, push you when you feel stuck, and celebrate with you when you achieve success. But it's not just about finding people who agree with everything you say. A community that fosters growth challenges us too. They offer diverse perspectives and ideas that force us to think deeper and expand our horizons. Whether it's a study group, a fitness team, a business mastermind, or a group of like-minded friends, the right community can be a powerful catalyst for personal and professional growth. The key is to be intentional about who you surround yourself with. Seek out individuals who challenge you, who inspire you, and who hold you accountable for your actions. Avoid people who bring negativity or hold you back from your potential. The community you choose to build or join will shape who you become. When you find the right people, your growth will be exponential, and the path to success will feel less like a struggle and more like a shared journey. Think back to a time when you felt truly supported by a community. Maybe it was during a challenging period of your life, and you had a group of people who were there for you, offering their wisdom, their help, or simply their presence. Remember how that support made all the difference. Those moments of connection are what help us grow, learn, and move forward. You may have felt a sense of belonging, like you were not alone in your struggles, and that made it easier to keep going. Now think about how you felt when you didn't have that support. Maybe you felt isolated or unsure of your next steps. Without the right people around you, it can be hard to stay focused on your goals. But with the right community, you have a sense of purpose and direction. Reflecting on these times helps us understand just how valuable a supportive community is for growth. So, how can you create or find a community that supports your growth? How do you go about seeking out people who share your values and who will help you achieve your dreams? What steps can you take to ensure that the community you build or join is one that inspires and challenges you to become better every day? Let's explore how we can find or create the kind of supportive network that will help propel us toward our goals. Number 8. Harness the wisdom of Stoicism for lasting mind mastery. Wouldn't it be incredible to feel in complete control of your mind? To have the power to rise above any challenge, to stay calm in the face of adversity, and to make decisions that align with your highest values. This is the promise of Stoicism, a philosophy that offers the tools for mastering your mind, no matter what life throws at you. By harnessing the wisdom of the Stoics, you can unlock lasting inner peace, resilience, and clarity. Stoicism is not just a set of principles, it's a practical guide for mastering your mind and emotions. It teaches us how to cultivate virtues like wisdom, courage, and self-discipline, which form the foundation of a calm and focused mind. The Stoics believed that we cannot always control external events, but we can control our reactions to them. This is the essence of mind mastery, the ability to choose how we respond to life's challenges. By practicing Stoic exercises like negative visualization, imagining the worst-case scenario, we prepare ourselves mentally for any outcome. This builds resilience and helps us keep our emotions in check. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of living in accordance with nature, of accepting the things we cannot change, and focusing on what we can control. Incorporating Stoic wisdom into our daily lives can help us cultivate greater self-awareness and emotional intelligence. We learn not to be swayed by fleeting emotions or external circumstances, but instead to stay grounded in our values and principles. By applying Stoicism, we gain control over our mental state, and in doing so, we gain mastery over our actions and reactions. Stoicism encourages us to see every obstacle as an opportunity for growth. When we face adversity, instead of complaining or resisting, we ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? This shift in perspective helps us develop a mindset that is resilient, adaptable, and unshaken by the ups and downs of life. With Stoicism, mind mastery isn't just an ideal, it's a way of life. Think back to a time when you were able to stay calm in a difficult situation. Maybe it was a stressful moment at work, a challenging conversation, or a personal crisis. In that moment, you were able to manage your emotions, think clearly, and make decisions that were aligned with your values. How did that feel? There's a sense of pride and inner peace that comes from being able to maintain control in the midst of chaos. You didn't let the situation dictate your emotions. You were in charge of your response. Reflecting on these moments helps us realize how powerful mind mastery can be. The more we practice Stoicism, the more often we can show up in these challenging situations with clarity, confidence, and composure. Over time, these small victories add up to create a profound sense of inner peace and mental strength. How can you begin to harness the wisdom of Stoicism for mind mastery? What Stoic exercises or practices can you incorporate into your daily routine? How do you start applying Stoic principles to your life in a way that leads to lasting mental strength and emotional resilience? Let's dive deeper into the specific tools and strategies Stoicism offers for achieving mind mastery, so you can begin living a life of greater clarity, control, and peace. If you've made it this far, drop 100 in the comments. This shows you're part of the rare 0.01% who are actually committed to seeing things through. Mastering your mind is a journey, and you've just taken a huge step toward becoming the best version of yourself. Remember, the power to change your life is in your hands, and it starts with your mindset. If you're serious about making that change, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. By joining this channel, you're investing in your growth and gaining access to the tools and wisdom you need to live a life of purpose and strength. Keep pushing forward, and I'll see you in the next one. Did you know that the key to lasting happiness and peace doesn't lie in external achievements, but within your own mind? If you want to truly transform your life, You need to learn to master the power of your thoughts and actions. The best advice I've ever heard comes from the ancient Stoics, who believed that true fulfillment doesn't come from accumulating wealth, status, or possessions, but from cultivating wisdom, virtue, and inner strength. Avoid the mistake of thinking that life's challenges are obstacles you can't control, because in reality, you have the power to reshape how you experience everything that comes your way. In this video, we'll explore how embracing Stoic wisdom can help you navigate life's struggles with resilience, transform your mindset, and ultimately lead to a more meaningful and peaceful life. So, if you're ready to unlock the secrets to inner peace and personal growth, stick with me, because what you're about to discover could change everything. Number 1. Discover the power of Stoicism. Imagine standing at the helm of your life, much like Marcus Aurelius stood at the helm of an empire. The dawn breaks, and with it, the infinite possibilities of a new day. You feel a deep sense of potential within you, a chance to create, to lead, to grow. Happiness floods your mind as you envision everything you can accomplish today. This surge of positivity is your moment of clarity, where you feel connected to the rhythm of life. But then, reality checks in. The weight of expectations, unforeseen obstacles, and the chaos of a world outside your control creep in. That happiness seems fleeting, doesn't it? Now pause for a moment and ask yourself, what if you could carry that clarity and sense of joy throughout the day, no matter what comes your way? This is where the ancient philosophy of Stoicism steps in, a philosophy not meant for scholars locked away in ivory towers, but for people like you, navigating the unpredictability of everyday life. Stoicism is a 2,000-year-old guide to mastering the art of living. It teaches us how to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot. Its roots are relatable because they address timeless human challenges: fear, anxiety, anger, and the quest for happiness. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most revered Stoics, was a Roman emperor. He wielded immense power, but faced constant threats of war, betrayal, and disease. How did he stay resilient? Through Stoicism. He believed, as he often wrote in his meditations, that the happiness of life depends on the quality of our thoughts. Does that strike a nostalgic chord? Think back to simpler times when you felt happy just being in the moment. Perhaps it was the warmth of a summer afternoon, the laughter of a loved one, or the quiet satisfaction of completing something meaningful. Stoicism reminds us to recreate that sense of presence, even in today's whirlwind of distractions. This philosophy isn't just about living better, it's about thriving in the chaos. If you've ever wondered, how can I take control of my emotions and live a life of purpose? Stay with me. Together we'll explore how Stoicism can transform your mindset and help you rediscover your inner strength. Number 2. Mastering control. Focus on what you can change. Picture this. You're stuck in traffic on a Monday morning. The radio blares with news that makes you uneasy. You're running late for an important meeting, and the frustration builds. The car in front of you isn't moving fast enough, and every minute feels like an eternity. In that moment, your happiness from earlier is eclipsed by the boiling anger and helplessness of the situation. Sounds familiar? Now let's take a step back and examine this moment through the lens of Stoicism. One of the core teachings of this philosophy is the dichotomy of control. Simply put, it teaches us that there are things we can control and things we cannot. Marcus Aurelius put it best: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This principle is transformative. You can't control the traffic, the news, or the car in front of you, but you can control how you respond. Instead of letting anger consume you, you can shift your mindset. Perhaps you use this time to reflect, to breathe deeply, or to listen to something inspiring. This small change creates a ripple effect. Your day, your mood, and your interactions all improve because you chose to focus on what you could control. It's intriguing, isn't it, how something so simple can have such a profound impact? Think back to a time when you let frustration overtake you, only to regret it later. Maybe it was an argument that left you feeling drained, or an opportunity you missed because you were too preoccupied with worry. Those moments serve as a powerful reminder of how much energy we waste on things beyond our control. Now, imagine the alternative. What if you could free yourself from the burden of trying to change the unchangeable? What if you redirected that energy toward things that truly matter? Your goals, your growth, your happiness. Does this idea spark curiosity? How might your life look if you mastered the art of focusing only on what's within your control? The answer lies in adopting Stoic practices that help you navigate life with grace, no matter what comes your way. Number 3. Daily Stoic practices for resilience and growth. Imagine starting your day not with chaos, but with clarity. Instead of reaching for your phone or rushing to meet deadlines, you pause. You take a deep breath and reflect, what is my intention for today? How will I handle the challenges that come my way? This simple act sets the tone for your entire day, anchoring you in a state of calm and focus. The Stoics believed in the power of daily practices to build resilience and foster growth. Marcus Aurelius, despite his demanding role as emperor, made time to write in his journal. He used this ritual to reflect on his actions, his principles, and the challenges he faced. This habit wasn't just therapeutic, it was transformative. It helped him navigate wars, betrayals, and personal losses without losing his composure or his sense of purpose. Can you recall a moment when you felt completely in control of your life? Maybe it was after a workout, a meaningful conversation, or an achievement you worked hard for. That feeling of alignment, of being centered in your values and actions, that's what Stoic practices aim to cultivate every day. One such practice is mindfulness. In a world full of distractions, being present is a superpower. The Stoics encouraged mindful living by aligning actions with values. If you value honesty, act truthfully. If you value kindness, practice compassion. This alignment not only reduces regret and guilt, but also boosts self-respect and inner peace. Another practice is reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what did I do well today? What could I have done better? What will I improve tomorrow? These questions aren't about dwelling on mistakes, but learning from them. They help you grow not just as a person, but as a Stoic, someone committed to living a life of virtue and resilience. Do these practices make you curious about their potential impact on your life? Think about it. What if every day you became just a little wiser, a little calmer, a little stronger? These small steps, repeated consistently, lead to profound transformation. So, how will you begin your Stoic journey today? Number 4. Transform your life with Stoic wisdom. To transform your life with Stoic wisdom, it's important to understand that it's not about an overnight revolution or miraculous change. It is a gradual and deliberate process of shifting your mindset, actions, and responses to the world. Stoicism offers a profound way to approach life, focusing on cultivating inner peace, mental resilience, and wisdom. Unlike philosophies that promise happiness through external gains, Stoicism emphasizes internal transformation through the development of personal virtues. The teachings of ancient Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, stress the importance of focusing on what is within our control and letting go of what isn't. This focus on self-discipline, rational thinking, and emotional resilience allows us to navigate life with equanimity, regardless of what happens around us. Whether you are facing the challenges of daily life, dealing with external pressures, or simply seeking deeper meaning in your existence, Stoicism provides the tools you need to become the best version of yourself. To truly transform your life, you must begin by adopting the Stoic mindset, which revolves around the idea that we are in control of our own thoughts and reactions. This foundational belief allows us to shape our emotional and mental states, regardless of the world's turbulence. The more we practice this mindset, the more we align ourselves with Stoic wisdom, gaining clarity and resilience. This journey begins by taking control of your internal responses to external events, a central theme in Stoic philosophy. Instead of allowing life's challenges, whether personal, professional, or emotional, to dictate your state of being, you learn to reframe those challenges through a lens of control and reason. The Stoics did not claim that life would always be easy or free from hardship. They simply advocated for the idea that how we respond to those difficulties is what truly matters. In the practice of Stoicism, you begin to shift from being a passive observer of your circumstances to becoming an active participant in the way you navigate those circumstances. Your ability to respond with calm, virtue, and rationality becomes the ultimate measure of success. And in this process, you learn that transformation comes not from avoiding hardship, but from accepting it and growing from it. In Stoicism, the emphasis is placed squarely on what you can control: your actions, your thoughts, your beliefs, and your responses to the world. In every situation, there are things that are beyond our control and things that are within our power to influence. This distinction forms the foundation of Stoic wisdom and is what ultimately leads to a life of peace and empowerment. When we focus on what is within our control, we are no longer at the mercy of external forces or the opinions of others. For instance, you might encounter a difficult boss or be faced with a challenging career decision. While you cannot control their actions or the circumstances surrounding your work environment, you have the power to control how you respond. Do you choose to react with frustration, resentment, or anger? Or do you take a step back, analyze the situation, and respond with patience, understanding, and professionalism? The Stoics encourage us to take the latter path. By practicing this principle daily, you develop a greater sense of agency over your own life, feeling less dependent on external validation and more connected to your own internal compass. Mastering control is about recognizing that external events will never fully align with your desires, and that's okay. What truly matters is how you navigate through those events.